Hello and good afternoon once again. Today we are having the second session of the discussion that we started yesterday on rocks. Yesterday we were able to go through quite a lot, and I gave you some assignments to try your hands on. Some of you were able to do so, but others are unable to do that. So let me quickly go through the assignments that I gave to you so that we know we have done our best possible, and the person who is qualified to take the bundle, I would announce the person also so that we pick it up from there. So the first question is for you to tabulate two differences between igneous rock and the metamorphic rock. Two differences between igneous rock and the metamorphic rock. Now, this particular question is a very simple one. It's just for you to compare and contrast the characteristics that exist between the igneous rocks and then the metamorphic rock. It is for you to just put them in a table form. So if your answer is not in a table form, then you are losing marks actually. So your answer should be in a table form, and that will earn you the full mark. So that's the first one. And the second one, let's take a look at the characteristics of the igneous rocks. We said that they are dark and shiny in appearance. They are dark and shiny in appearance. Now, before you even answer the differences, you should actually know what the metamorphic rock is. Last time we mentioned that metamorphic rocks are formed from either igneous rocks or the sedimentary rocks, which have been subjected to a high temperature and then pressure. And this is what brings about the formation of the metamorphic rock. So if you are tabulating the difference that exists between them, metamorphic rocks will be rough. Somebody mentioned that it will be rough, but in the case of the igneous rocks, they would not be rough. Igneous rocks will not be rough. So the person got it right. Then in terms of the crystalline nature, igneous rocks will be crystalline in nature. But in the case of the metamorphic rocks, they may be crystalline depending on the type of rock from which they are formed from. Mind you, metamorphic is from the term metamorphosis, which is change. All right. So they would either be um, hard or soft. That is another difference. Igneous rocks will be hard, but the metamorphic rocks will either be hard or soft. Now, igneous rocks they do not occur in layers. They do not occur in layers at all. Then in the case of the metamorphic rocks, they may be formed, or they may form some layers. That is if they are formed from the sedimentary rocks. And the last but not the least is the resistivity to erosion. Igneous rocks are resistant to erosion because of the nature in which they are hardy. They are very hardy. They are very resistant to erosion. But in the case of the metamorphic rocks, they are not resistant. They are either resistant or not to erosion, depending on the parent material from which they are formed from. All right. So that is it about the differences. Let me quickly project that for you so that you'll be able to understand exactly what I mean. Looking at the characteristics of the igneous rocks, you are just trying to compare and contrast. So metamorphic rocks, they are not dark and shiny in appearance. But in the case of the igneous rocks, they are dark and shiny in appearance. The igneous rocks, the igneous rocks are crystalline. They have a crystalline structure, but metamorphic rocks do not have. They may have a crystalline structure. Sorry. Then, whilst the igneous rocks are hard, that is no two ways about it. The metamorphic rocks would either be hard or soft. So when you look at everything that we are talking about, you are just trying to say that the metamorphic rocks will have the characteristics that are intermediate between the igneous rocks and then the sedimentary rock. All right. Thank you for going through that. All right. So let's take the second question. The second question says, state three agricultural importance of rocks. Three agricultural importance of rock. It is very important to know that all the importance that we have mentioned, not all of them are actually of agricultural importance. And the reason why we are studying this particular topic is because we want to find out the relevance of this particular rock and its formation, as well as its composition and then disintegration. How relevant it would be to the human life, the human life. So we mentioned that as part of the importance, the rocks will result to the formation of a soil. So this is the most important aspect that in relation to agriculture. If the rocks result in the formation of a soil, then agriculturist, a farmer, will be able to cultivate his or her plant on such a soil. So this is one. Two, it serves as a source of soil minerals for plants. So this is also of an agricultural importance. Then three, for the manufacture of indigenous farm implements. For the manufacture of indigenous plants, for the indigenous farm implements. So I mentioned to you that yesterday that in the olden days, our forefathers are not actually exposed to technology, so they have their own um, technology, a means by which they should be able to cultivate the land. So they found the rock, especially the igneous rocks, to be useful in being used as a farm implement. So at least these three would do when you write. Let's take a look at the fourth one. Serve as a source of minerals, but this one is not in relation to agriculture. The next one, the construction of roads, and then yeah, on in the long term, we would say that they are useful, like because if you construct roads and then the building of the farm sheds, etc., using um, the rock, they are of a long term importance because when you finish cultivating your land, your plants able to grow, you harvest. Are you not going to transport them to the market centers for sales? Yes, so would say that that's also of an agricultural importance. However, the rest are not in relation to agriculture. So if you write for soil formation, you are correct. Two, as a source of minerals for plants, as a source of minerals for plants, you are also correct. If you write for the manufacture of um, indigenous farm implements, you are also correct. And if you write, it serves as it is used for the construction of roads and then bauxite that are of agricultural importance, you are also correct. All right, thank you very much. So let me see those who have scored. Let me see, let me go through. I'm going to read what everybody has written, starting from Bridget. Bridget says that the difference between igneous rocks and the metamorphic, they have a crystalline structure, but in the case of the metamorphic, they may not form crystals, and that is correct. Then the second difference is they are dark and shiny in appearance, but in the case of the metamorphic, they may contain. Yeah, Bridget, in fact, you cannot write this. The second comparison is you are not making the comparison. I expect you to write if the igneous rocks are dark and shiny in appearance. Metamorphic rocks are not dark and shiny in appearance, or they may not be dark and shiny in appearance. But I cannot write igneous rocks being dark in appearance and shiny, and then metamorphic rocks they contain fossils. How? It is not possible. It is not possible for you to do that comparison. So that is wrong. Then for the importance of the agricultural importance of rocks, you mentioned for soil formation, used for building and construction, then for tourist attraction. I will take the first two, but the last one, I will not accept it. So in all, you have scored 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. Then I'll take, in fact, I'm yet to know your name, but your number is 0248725463. You mentioned that igneous rocks, they are dark and shiny in appearance. Then in the case of the metamorphic rocks, they are rough in texture. No. You are, in fact, the characteristics that you have stated are correct and they are respective of the rocks. But you are making a comparison between igneous rocks and metamorphic rocks. So it is not possible for you to do that comparison. So that is wrong. Then igneous rocks are very hard. Metamorphic rocks, you said they are either hard or soft. So that is correct. Let's take a look at number 2. Three importance of rocks that are of agricultural use. 1, for soil formation, that's correct. For the construction of roads and buildings, that's correct. Tourist attraction, you are wrong. So you know you have scored 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. Let me take the third one. This one, Princess. Princess Sarah. Sarah says that igneous rocks are very hard, are heavy, hard, and shiny. But in the case of metamorphic rocks, they are massive and hard. I don't understand what you mean by this comparison. So that's wrong. Then they contain crystalline. They are crystalline. In the case of metamorphic, you said that they are very dense. In fact, please, if you are making comparisons, you should be specific. You should not just state what you feel like stating. Yeah, very important. You need to take note of that. Now let's take a look at the 2 points you've written are wrong. Sarah, sorry, they are wrong. Then the agricultural importance of rocks, source of plant nutrient, that's correct. As ornaments, ornaments in agriculture, ornaments. Are the farmers going to put on the beads made of rocks to the farm? No, please. They would not actually do that. Okay, so let's take a look at. So it's also said for domestic uses, like you've not stated that, so that is wrong. And sources of food. Yeah, I would take that for you, source of food, but on a higher level, yes, I'll accept it. But at your level, just understand that it is not, you cannot use the stones as a food. I don't know what you mean by that though, but rocks being used as a food, to a larger extent, yes, but in specific terms, I would say no. So you have scored just 1 out of 5. Sarah, I hope you followed what we treated. I hope we followed what we treated. Okay, so I also saw one from MFA. MFA, I think you have copied from someone. Either you have copied, either you are the one who copied, or I don't even know how I should put it. Either you copied from someone or someone copied from you. MFA, the one that belongs to you. I don't know which one is applicable to you, but what you have written is similar to that posted by the number 0248725463. Please identify yourself. I would like to know you in person by your name. Thank you very much. All right, so we move on to today's discussion.